Your willpower is not running out. I need you to sit with that for a second because everything you've been told says otherwise. You've heard it 1,000 times. Willpower is like a muscle. Use it too much and it gets tired. That's why you're strong all morning and weak by midnight. That's why you can resist the donut at 9 a.m. but not at 9 p.m. Except, that's not true. And believing it is quietly making you weaker. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you isn't opinion. It's one of the most famous experiments in psychology, and one of the most quietly devastating collapses in modern science. In 1998, a researcher named Roy Baumeister ran a study that would shape self-help advice for the next 25 years. He put people in a room. On the table, warm, fresh-baked cookies. Right next to them, a bowl of radishes. Half the people were told, eat the cookies. The other half were told, eat only the radishes. Ignore the cookies completely. Then came the real test. Everyone was given an impossible puzzle to solve. The cookie eaters kept trying for almost 20 minutes. The radish group? They gave up in 8. Baumeister's conclusion became gospel. Resisting temptation drains a hidden fuel tank. He called it ego depletion. And for 2 decades, therapists, coaches, productivity gurus built entire careers on this one idea. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. In 2016, a massive replication project tried to recreate that exact experiment. Multiple labs, hundreds of participants, rigorous controls. The effect vanished. Not weakened, not smaller, gone. Study after study since has failed to reliably reproduce ego depletion. One of the most cited psychological findings of the last 30 years may not even be real. So if willpower isn't a fuel tank, why do we feel drained by the end of the day? Here's the twist that changes everything. A researcher named Veronica Job ran a different kind of study. She didn't test willpower directly. She tested belief. She split people into 2 groups. One group was told willpower is limited, it runs out. The other group was told willpower is unlimited, it grows the more you use it. Same people, same tasks, same brains. The group that believed willpower was limited performed worse as the day went on. Exactly like the theory predicted. But the group that believed willpower was unlimited, they didn't slow down at all. Let that land for a second. The exhaustion wasn't coming from using willpower. It was coming from believing it could run out. Think about what that means for your life right now. Every time you've said, I'm too drained to say no to this, you weren't reporting a biological fact. You were performing a belief, a story your mind had already accepted as true. And here's the part that stings a little. Coaches, apps, even doctors have spent years telling you to protect your willpower like it's a scarce resource. Rest it, ration it. Don't waste it on small decisions. But what if that advice was training you to give up faster? I want you to think back to a moment you told yourself, I have no willpower left today. Was your body actually depleted? Or had you simply decided the fight was over? This is where it gets personal. Because if belief creates the limit, then the people who seem to have superhuman self-control aren't made of different material than you. They just never installed the ceiling. Athletes who push through what should be physical failure. Entrepreneurs who work 18-hour days for years without burning out. They're not defying biology. They simply never told themselves the tank was empty. Now here's the uncomfortable question. If that's true, how much of your life has been limited, not by your actual capacity, but by a story you accepted as fact before you ever tested it? That donut at 9 p.m. snapping at someone you love after a long day. Skipping the workout because you used up your discipline earlier. None of that was your ceiling. It was your belief about your ceiling. So what do you actually do with this? Not just believe harder. That's the shallow version of this idea, and it won't survive contact with a bad day. Instead, notice the exact moment you say the sentence, I don't have it in me right now. That sentence is not a report. It's a decision dressed up as an observation. The next time it shows up, don't fight it. Just ask one quiet question. Is this actually my limit? Or is this the story I was handed? That single pause is where the old myth loses its grip. Here's the part almost nobody tells you. The people running the original studies weren't lying to you. They believed what the data seemed to show. Science corrected itself the way it's supposed to, but the correction never made it into the advice you were given. You were left holding a belief the researchers themselves had already moved past. So the real myth was never about donuts or radishes or discipline at all. The real myth is that your capacity has a hard, fixed ceiling. And that ceiling was installed by a story, not by your biology. The next time you feel like giving up, before you accept it as truth, ask yourself one thing. Is this really empty? Or have I just never questioned the tank?